Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin wa afdal as-salati wa atammu taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Rasulil Kareem wa sahbati min al-abadi wa shafi'il ala alihi wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma faqihna fi ad-din wa alimna tawil wa ja'alna min khayri Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi afdal as-salati wa atammu taslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Been asked to since we're in the month of Muharram, blessed days of Muharram and the blessed occasion of Ashura and kind of some events in the back of it. I've been asked to just talk a bit about it. So today's lesson is going to be a bit different. So we're not going to be covering our normal topic. Inshallah, we'll go back to that next week. I think it's probably good at times when you come across these certain blessed days or blessed events, right, to know. So I think today I'm not going to really go into detail, because if you go into detail in these events, you can kind of span over 3 hours, and it seems we don't want to go over 1 hour. So I need to be very careful of my timings. Also, I want to keep like an overview and give a bit of, not really go into too much detail, because some of the stuff is a bit gruesome. So if you go into detail, it's very sad, the event that took place. And with children around, I think, I try to keep the lessons as kind of cheerful as I can with my bad jokes. But we'll see how it goes anyway, inshallah. So the lesson is going to be kind of almost like a two-part. The first one's going to be around Muharram. It's going to be briefly just talk about actually Muharram itself and pre the event we can talk about. And then we'll move on to the event of Karbala. And the idea is that people know when they hear it, when you'll no doubt, if you turn on the TV channels, any of the Islamic channels, they'll all be talking about it. So you need to understand exactly what's happening, because most of the time you'll probably have people speaking in Urdu and shouting really loud and all that, and most youngsters don't understand that. So he's just trying to simplify it and say this is exactly what's happened without going into too much detail. And as inshallah, as they grow up, they're aware of it, and they can kind of also look into it a bit more. If there's a need be now and then, we can start giving a bit more details in it if there's a need. Okay, Bismillah. So history books sometimes, obviously, variably, and sometimes less so, talk about ancient events or certain things that took place on the day of Ashura, which is 10th of Muharram. And just in case I forget, I'll mention it straight up now because I remember. Tomorrow will be 9th of Muharram, and Thursday is the 10th of Muharram. So those that want to fast, you can either fast on the 9th, which is tomorrow, Wednesday, and the 10th, which is Thursday, or you can fast on the Thursday, 10th, and the Friday, 11th. Okay, so 2 days you fast. So either 9th and 10th, Wednesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday. And obviously, tell your families as well, for all those that want to. So there we should. Let me kind of actually explain why we speak about certain events that have taken place. It almost, I suppose, magnifies that day. It increases its blessedness. So if this occasion took place on this day, surely this day is blessed. Okay. And the interesting thing you'll see here is that there, sure they're down. Like I said, some variably, some not so variable. I'll mention all of them. Is that certain blessed things took place on that day, so that day has to be blessed. And students talk about the birth of the Prophet ﷺ, 12th Rabiul Awwal, and says, well, Rabiul Awwal wasn't a classed as being one of those sacred months. The day wasn't classed as being sacred. That's because the birth of the Prophet ﷺ is then what made it sacred. Okay, so it wasn't a case of we had a sacred day and a sacred month, and then the Prophet ﷺ came within that month. No, this was just out of it now. By him coming and being born in that month, that's what made it so blessed. Okay, so as you mentioned, obviously, I mentioned last week, there's 4 sacred months. And I'm going to ask which ones they are, and everyone's going to start looking down again. Okay? There's 4 sacred months. Can anyone remember what the 4 sacred months are? It's a very hard to remember as well, actually. 3 that's grouped together, 1 that's alone. Zulhijjah, okay, he's got 1. Okay, let's just go one by one. Rajab. She's looking at her notes, and she's the only one. I'll allow it because you're probably the only one of the only ones. Well, when they're the one actually making notes. Go on then. Muharram, because the month we're in. 1 left. No, not Shaban. The 3 that are together. So which 3 are together? There's 3 that are together, and then there's 1 that's alone. Yes, Zulqa'dah. So Zulqa'dah, Zulhijjah, Muharram are the three that are together. They come one after the other. And then Rajab is on its own. Okay, so we're in that sacred month, and some of the events that took place, you've got the Exodus of Musa alayhi salam, and his people were saved from Pharaoh on this day, 10th of Muharram. You got the day Allah relented towards Adam alayhi salam, so it's almost like his tawbah was, his repentance was accepted in a sense, right? And you got to be very careful in terms of when we talk about Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and people try to make it out as, oh, he's sinned, and then finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him, etc. No, we understand a prophet cannot sin. It's not in their DNA. So it's not possible for a prophet to sin. Okay, there's forgetfulness, or there's choices that may make, and sometimes they'll be corrected and said, okay, you made this choice, but this choice was better. That doesn't mean you sinned or whatever it is there, because a prophet cannot sin. That's important there. Remember that. Because a lot of people, I've seen it in actually Islamic books as well, when they're describing Prophet Adam alayhi salam taking fruit from the tree, or he sinned taking fruit from the tree. No, a prophet cannot sin. Okay, remember that's very important. That's why our current modules that we're talking about prophets, one of the things I mentioned last week when I described some of the attributes of a prophet cannot sin. Okay. The end of the flood of Nuh alayhi salam, so his ark settled on the mount. The day Sulaiman alayhi salam was crowned, Sulaiman alayhi salam, another prophet who was a king prophet. He made that dua of being a king. The day Allah relented toward Dawud alayhi salam, the day Isa alayhi salam was born. This is again, I'm putting it out there how very verified this is. Can't say. I mean, you hear Musa alayhi salam one quite strongly verified. That you hear a lot. Nuh alayhi salam's ark, you hear that quite strongly verified. The others probably less so, but it's still mentioned. Okay, Allah's peace be on them all. So I think I explained it last week. What happened is the Prophet ﷺ would fast on the 10th of Muharram even before coming to Medina. Okay. When he came to Medina, and the Jews would fast on that day, and he asked the Jews, why do you fast? And this is the day Musa alayhi was saved from Pharaoh. And the Prophet ﷺ, we have more right over Musa alayhi than you. We will fast on that day. Okay. And related that actually fasting on day of Ashura was obligatory before Ramadan came along. So abrogated after Ramadan came along. So prior to Ramadan fast, which were obligatory, the fast of Shura was obligatory on Muslims. Okay. So all these events that we speak about is just one kind of spiritual renewal. That's the whole point of it. Remembering all this, it's just a renewal of for ourselves, a movement from sin towards obedience. Shadows to light. That's the whole purpose. So that's what we take from it. The point of me telling you all these things, you think, wow, on this day this happened. Wow, this is for you to kind of renew your intentions, or renew your spirituality, and move towards obedience more and more. It helps you. These events kind of almost help us remember certain things, and then it almost tries to make us a bit more towards the deen, on the right path. That's generally speaking. I've already spoke about how blessed month of Muharram is, and there's 10 days especially. So do as much about it as well. I spoke about that last week, and I was thinking I'm not going to speak much about today's lesson. Is going to finish quick, but you know how I am. We probably overrun, so I'll quickly go straight into the main event. It's Karbala, and we'll start speaking about that. Okay, so before we kind of speak about the event, you need to understand the main characters most in the event. So yeah, the Prophet ﷺ biological uncle was Abu Talib. So you had Sayyidina Hamza and Sayyidina Abbas were his step uncles almost. His Salasam's father Abdullah, Sayyidina Abdullah's biological brother was Abu Talib. Okay. And Sayyidina Ali was the son of Abu Talib. Okay, so the Prophet ﷺ and Sayyidina Ali were actually cousins. Okay. Prophet ﷺ and Sayyidina Ali were cousins. And the Prophet ﷺ Actually, go back a bit. Abu Talib had 4 sons. So this is just understand how it is. Abu Talib had 4 sons. Yeah, Talib, Aqil, Jafar, and Ali. Okay, and we're going to concentrate on is Sayyidina Ali. To turn the speakers off. We're going to talk about Sayyidina Ali. And Sayyidina Ali had a huge rank. He's one of the greatest companions. And was very close to the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet ﷺ would say that about Ali, that you are my brother in this world and next. And he would say, Ali is from me and I am from Ali. He was very close to Sayyidina Ali. Okay, and also Sayyidina Ali was the 4th Khalifa. He was very knowledgeable in the Quran. Okay, he said, Sayyidina Ali mentioned that he knew every verse that was revealed, where it was revealed and when it was revealed. Okay, so much information. He knew the interpretation of different, what the meanings of each verses, etc. That's how knowledgeable he was. It was very powerful as well. You know, it was very powerful. You've got which one was it? The Battle of Hudaybiyah, I think it was. No. The Battle of Karbala, where he was picked amongst the companions to kind of fight their main fighter, and he picked up the gates. He picked it up and he threw it towards the guy, you know, and almost like he used it as a shield as well. And later on, it took 40 people to move that one gate. He picked up alone. It took 40 people to move that one gate. Okay, and we're talking about people who work. You know, it's not like us, we're wimps, obviously. People who actually worked, and this was used to, something like this was used to, manual labor was used to, but he was very, very powerful. Sayyidina Ali was very powerful. And then you got Sayyidina Ali, and then the other person you were going to talk about is Sayyidina Fatima, the leader of the women of paradise, the daughter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, all women will enter paradise behind her. The Prophet ﷺ would stand up when she would enter the room. He'd take her hand, kiss her hand, and make her sit down. How much respect he had for her. You know, the Prophet ﷺ respected women so much. Before the Prophet ﷺ coming, people would bury their daughters. They did not want daughters. Even now, day and age, in the cultural is that when someone has a daughter, right, it's almost like a martyrdom, you know. And daughters are a blessing, okay, a blessing for a household. And the Prophet ﷺ would respect women so much, and he loved his daughter the most. Another interesting fact about Sayyidina Fatima is that she was pure, so pure from haid. So all women, the month cycle of the haid, she never had haid, so she was pure from that fact alone. So Ali and Sayyidina Fatima had 5 children. 2 daughters, 3 sons. Imam Mohsin was one of the children who passed away at a young age. Then they had Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. And these are the important, I'm just mentioning and giving a bit of picture ideas. These are 2 important people, like Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. They're known as the leaders of the youth of paradise. Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein. This is where you got the Prophet ﷺ, whose daughter was Sayyidina Fatima, who married to Sayyidina Ali, who was the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, he saw him as a brother, as how close he was with him. So they're married, and so this is like straight away you're talking about a really pure lineage. And then their children, and then you've got 2 of them, which is Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, who the Prophet ﷺ loved so much. When they were young, when the Prophet ﷺ was in prayer, he would be leading the prayer. He would go down into prostration, and Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein would get on his blessed back, and he would just along the sujood. He would not get up from sujood. He would continue letting him play on his back. And you think, well, how do people know that? Because the Sahaba behind would be thinking, well, why is this taking so long? So they'd pop their head up and think, what's happening? And they could see the kids playing on their back. And they asked the Prophet ﷺ, you know, we thought that you were getting revelation, or, you know, your soul has been taken away. And he says, no, it's my children are playing on my back. Okay, so he loved them so much, mashallah. So Imam Hassan, the names have never been used prior to this point. Sayyidina Ali was a warrior, so he wanted to keep, when he had a son, he wanted to keep it like a warrior name. But the Prophet ﷺ says, no, keep it Hassan, which is the Arabic is beautiful. Hassan means beautiful. And then a year later, when Hussein was born, and Hussein is an Arabic structure. It's called Ism Taskir. It's like a structure of an Arabic word, and if you put it in at the end, it's like an ain. The first part, it just means little of that. So Hussein is a structure of Hassan, and Hussein just means little beautiful. Okay, I know it doesn't sound really elegant in English, but you got Hassan, which means beautiful, and then Hussein, which is little beautiful. Okay, because again, saying that Ali came and he wanted to name his son Walia. I think it was the name had this one, I can't remember. But the Prophet ﷺ says, no, we call him Hussein. Okay. When kids are born, what the tradition is that you put something sweet in the mouth, and the person who puts something sweet in the mouth, they take it from their mouth and they put it into the baby's mouth. And the idea is that they take their characteristics on. And when Hassan and Hussein were born, they were taken to the Prophet ﷺ, and there was nothing more sweeter than the saliva of the Prophet ﷺ, and he put his saliva in the mouth of Hassan and Hussein when they were born. MashaAllah. They said Imam Hassan resembled the Prophet ﷺ from navel above, and Hussein resembled the Prophet ﷺ from navel below. Okay. And the Prophet ﷺ would say, oh Allah, love the ones that love them. When he used to see them, he says, oh Allah, love the ones that love them. It's an important one I'm trying to build upon all this is that, look, this is who we're trying to talk about here. And the events that took place here, you put them into, okay, who is it that we're dealing with? We're dealing with someone who's had such a pure lineage, okay? The grandchildren of the Prophet ﷺ, who the Prophet ﷺ praised so much, he loved them so much, he played with them so much. He always did dua for them. They're known as, they were given titles of the youth, the leader of the youth of paradise. There's so much that's been said about them. The Prophet ﷺ also knew what would happen to Imam Hussein. He knew he would be martyred. He knew exactly where he was going to get martyred. Okay, the soil was brought upon him where he's going to get martyred. The Sahaba knew where he was going to get martyred. Imam Hussein knew where he was going to get martyred. Okay, all this, it was known beforehand. It was not like it just randomly has happened and, oh, we were meant to be here. Imam Hussein knew, but still knowing that, he still continued with what happened. So to bring in, I'm not sure if I've explained it before, but I'll say it again. So after the Prophet ﷺ, you had to have leaders who would then take over and rule the Muslim world. So the Prophet ﷺ, after that, what we known as Khalifa, Khulafa, Caliphate, the English kind of word for it is. So you had Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, you had Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, and then after Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq, you had Sayyidina Umar Farooq, and after that you had Sayyidina Uthman Ghani, after that Sayyidina Ali. Okay, what we're going to talk about is from Sayyidina Uthman Ghani. From then, after Sayyidina Uthman Ghani was martyred, he was murdered. After he was martyred, then a lot of issues occurred after that. It was almost like a civil war broke out after that. There was a split during the Khilafat of their father Sayyidina Ali. There's a split in the civil war between Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah. Okay, so there's a split there, and we're not going to talk about that because look, they were Sahaba. What are the differences where that's between the Sahaba and all that? That's not for us to comment on that. We see them as Sahaba, we respect them all. They're above us in every way possible. Okay, but just to let you know that that's how it was working. There was a split. You had the Sayyidina Ali and the family, they were based in Iraq. So you had almost like Iraq, they took allegiance to Sayyidina Ali, and then I think you had the group in Syria who took allegiance to Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah. Okay, this is where the split was, and this is important here because this is where the issue occurs going later. So it's important for you to know here that there was a split in the fourth Khalifa, Sayyidina Ali and Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah. But after the martyrdom of Sayyidina Ali, after he was also murdered, saying his eldest son, Imam Hassan, became the Khalifa. Okay, but again, don't forget, there's still this like, I mean, Muawiyah was kind of there was a civil war taking place, and to bring reconciliation and to bring the groups together, Imam Hassan relinquished his Khilafat after 6 months, and he gave it. He says, "You know what? I give my Khilafat to Amir Muawiyah to bring the Muslims together." So he kind of relinquished his Khilafat. Imam Hussein wasn't pleased about this happening, but nevertheless, there was wisdom behind it, obviously, from Imam Hassan's side, and this is what happened. Not long after that, he was actually poisoned. Now, there's two, right? One is that he was poisoned for food, and the other one is that he was murdered with a dagger, like a poisonous dagger. Okay. After the Khilafat was handed across to Imam Muawiyah, the entire Ahl al-Bayt is known as the family of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, Ahl al-Bayt, the people of the household, known as the family of the Prophet ﷺ. So you've got Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, and their brothers and sisters, etc., like that, coming through from that channel there. They moved back from Iraq to Medina. After that, they moved from Iraq to Medina. Now, moving on from there to the other one is that Sayyidina Amir Muawiyah, who ruled for about 20 years. And the center at that point was in Syria. So the center of the Muslim Khilafah was in Syria. He had a son. And his son's name is someone who's probably you've heard of before, Yazid. Okay, it's a name you probably heard before. His son is Yazid. And 20 years, when his time was getting, and he got ill, and they realized that his time's coming to an end, people around him were telling, "Oh, you need to pick a leader after you, a Khalifa after you," and they were ill advising him that you need to pick your son, Yazid. You need to pick your son. Okay, Yazid was based in Iraq, and Sayyidina Muawiyah was based in Syria. And Yazid was a pretty bad person. Okay, he would drink, womanize, make halal haram, make haram halal. He would take from the Bayt al-Mal. Bayt al-Mal was money given for other purposes. He would take from that. So the rulers wouldn't take from that, but he did. Okay, Yazid was about 35 years old when he became a leader, so he was young. And the Prophet said that warned about young leaders, kind of thing, almost. So he was young when he was given the Khilafah. But whatever reason, whatever happened, Amir Muawiyah was convinced to make Yazid the next leader. Amir Muawiyah actually went around to different places, to Medina, to all the Sahaba, asking them to take allegiance, or almost like accept his son Yazid as the next leader. But a lot of the Sahaba actually stayed silent on it because everyone knew the type of person he was. Okay, but regardless, whatever the wisdom behind him doing it, he made his son the next leader. There was a lot of controversy around that, but Amir Muawiyah made it really clear before passing away. He told Yazid that don't. He told he told his son that don't do anything to Imam Hussein. He made that very clear. Don't do anything to Imam Hussein. Okay. When Yazid came into power, I love his food, isn't it? Okay, he told me to tell you he's got some pizzas. Yeah, so I don't know why he's bought some pizza. And firstly, I don't think it'll be enough because after I finish, there won't be any left for anyone else. But apparently he's bought some pizzas, so just to get you guys know, just take a bite each. That's it, and that'll be enough. That's all for later. Pay attention. If you don't pay attention, you don't get any pizzas. I'm announcing all this, right? I hope it isn't enough now. Yeah, go on. They passed away. Yeah. So the martyr.
Even though they gave up the Khilafah, they were still.
Yeah, but you understand? Sorry.
They were still like martyrs. They were still.
The martyrs. I don't know the reason behind it, but they were martyred for whatever reason it was. So there's a bit of discrepancy about it. From what I've heard, it was more. I've heard a lot about their wife was almost forced, kept being told forced to poison their food. Right, that's what I've been heard a lot. But then I've also come across that they were killed by a poisonous dagger. Now, I'll probably look into it more. If I'm honest with you, I haven't really looked into it, so I can't say. I'm just telling you about the two versions I've heard of.
Was this at the start of when?
This was pretty much after he gave up his Khilafah.
So this was later years.
No, so yeah, no, I think I'll get more details on the Imam Hassan. I didn't really read into Imam Hassan as much, but yeah, they were martyred kind of at that point. I think there wasn't really controversy. Now it was more kind of focused on Imam Hussein, and then
when they gave up Imam Hussein,
don't forget that
they've gone to Medina, have they?
Yeah, the whole family. So all family have gone to Medina now. So this is where they're based. So Imam Muawiyah continues to rule now. Imam Hassan gives up the Khilafah. Imam Muawiyah, Amir Muawiyah continues to rule now. That's what's happened now. Okay. So Yazid, it was important for Yazid. You know what happens in when you go a leader, you need to get allegiance, what they call take bay'ah. Take bay'ah. So for a Muslim, is that I take bay'ah with you, accept you as a leader. So Yazid was trying his level best to get that done. So he would get, there was big Sahaba. So you got Abdullah bin Zubair, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Umar, and Imam Hussein. These were like the sons of great leaders, right? Sons of great Sahaba. And he knew that if he could get their allegiance, if they would take bay'ah in his hand, then that's it, and everyone else will follow, right? He actually sent someone to Medina to get their allegiance, say almost like, capture them all and get them to take allegiance. And at that point, Imam Hussein said that, you know what, we'll talk in the morning. And the following day, he set off for Hajj. Leading up to this, what's been happening is a majority of people in Iraq didn't accept Yazid as the leader. And they were writing letters after letters, messages after messages to Imam Hussein. You come here, we accept you, we give bay'ah to you, we don't accept him as a leader. Okay. Messages after message. There's some narration that up to 18,000 letters were wrote. Okay. Continuously. They kept telling him continuously, come here, we need you to come here. It's important you come, and we need your help, whatever it is, don't forget it was letters in that point. So Imam Hussein actually set off. What he did before he set off, he sent his cousin, I think it was his cousin, to Kufa. Kufa is in Iraq, obviously, the head of Iraq capital. I think it was at that point. And he sent his cousin there to go and see the situation, what's happening. But he went there and he wrote a letter back saying, yeah, these people are like, they're all taking allegiance, they're all taking bay'ah, they all want you to come, everything's good, you can come. This is the message that went back. So Imam Hussein set off from Medina. He set off with his two blessed wives, his stepbrothers, their children, and all the family. So a group of 72, 73 people set off from Medina. They went to Hajj to do Hajj first. This was in Dhul-Hijjah, so they went to do Hajj. Okay. By the time they set off and went for Hajj, things started changing in Kufa. Because what Yazid was doing is all these big governors, he was changing the people. He was changing them and putting his own people in. Okay. And he changed the governor of Kufa. Umaydullah ibn Zayd was his name. And he was directly responsible for the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. Okay. So he went and he started torturing the people, killing people, putting fear in them that they accept Yazid as the leader. By this time, like I said, Imam Hussein had set off for Hajj, right? So according to him, everything was fine. Even then, his cousin, who was sent beforehand by Imam Hussein, he was a marked target. They were chasing him. He went into hiding. Okay, but eventually they found him as well, and they killed him, and his sons. So things kind of changed drastically then. Okay, so after doing Hajj, when Imam Hussein set off for Kufa, the Sahaba tried to stop him, and they said that don't go. Don't go. You're a leader amongst us. You're the leader according to us. And you go to Kufa. These are the people who murdered your father. And these are the people who turned against us in so many occasions. Don't go there. But he said, look, I have to go. And he goes, I have to go. It's important for me to go. Don't forget, he didn't go there to fight. No one goes to a battle taking their family and children. That's something to remember. I'm going to summarize this right near the end of the different views people take, right? And don't take these extremist views. But I'm just trying to tell you the events that took place so you know what's happened. So Kufa, they set off and they from Medina, Makkah, this is after performing Hajj, they set off towards Kufa. And according to them, everything's still fine, right? They get there and things have completely changed, they get there, as they're heading towards there, they realize that, things have changed and people are after them, etc. But he still continued with his family. He still continued. He didn't stop and go back. He still continued. They settled and camped at a point called Karbala. Stopped at a point called Karbala, and Imam Hussein asked where we stopped. He says Karbala. He goes, okay, we're gonna stay here now. So he knew this is where I'm going to be martyred. This is it. So we're gonna stay here now. But what happened is now then you've got 72, 73 people. And the army, or Yazid's army, or the governor of Kufa's army was 22,000 people. So 22,000 people come for 73 people, which are men, boys, children, women, little babies. Okay? These are Muslims. We're not talking about Muslims and non-Muslims. We're talking Muslims coming for Muslims. So it come and all they wanted, they were saying to him that you need to take allegiance to Yazid. You need to accept him as a leader. But Imam Hussein said, I can't do that. Everyone knew how it is. I can't accept him as a leader, right? Because if Imam Hussein accepts him as a leader, whatever he does is, he's almost saying, yes, I agree with him. Everyone knew what he would do. He was completely against the teachings of Islam. So he couldn't. So he had to stand by the principles. This is what the principles of on Islam is. Okay. So just quickly, this is the part where things get really, really bad. So I'm going to just quickly push over it and then do a bit of a summary, and then that's it. We'll leave it at that, really, because a lot of things take place. A lot of fighting takes place. You've got the sons of Imam Hussein that go out to fight with their swords, and they take on a lot of people. Remember, what they do is they cut off all the supply towards them to the tents. There was no water, no food. Then continuously over 3 days, they never had any food. Now, the eldest son of Imam Hussein went out to fight. He killed a lot of them. He come back and he said to Father, I'm so thirsty. Even if I had one sip of water, I'll take these guys on. There's no problem. But they didn't have any water. They had nothing to show. A little baby shot with an arrow. So there's a lot of things that take place, I think, at this point. And he gets gruesome. And then finally, the last person to be is Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein's one of his children, who then lineage continues, was saved by one of the women. She said that if you're going to kill him, you're going to kill me first. And they stopped and they didn't kill him. But pretty much everyone else was killed. And his head was chopped off, and then it was almost taken and then paraded around people, all over, kind of thing. Look at this. It was almost putting fear into people, like, if you don't accept us, right? And it's almost like you've got that the so-called ISIS. What they're doing, they put fear. They just kill people. They display and they say, accept us, or this is what's going to happen. So putting fear into people that the only way you're going to move forward is you need to accept us, whatever happens. So that's generally I know I've really, really kind of gone it down. There's a lot of detail that can be gone into on that. But that's generally what happened, and the event of Karbala. That's what it's all about, really, and where they come about from. Now, I'm going to mention to 171. Think not of those who are slain in the way of Allah as dead. Nay, they are living. With their Lord they have provision. 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 They have provision Jubilant are they because of that which Allah had bestowed upon them of His bounty, rejoicing for the sake of those who have not joined them but are left behind. That they shall they shall not fear, no fear come upon them, neither shall they grieve. They rejoice because of favor from Allah and kindness, and that Allah wastes not the wage of the believers. And these are the people who are slain in the way of Allah, yeah, the martyrs. And they are not dead. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, they are alive. They rejoice. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning this. They rejoice. Nowadays, there's a lot of debate between who Ahl Sunnah and Shia. Remember, I mentioned that I kind of gave a bit of, we got Muslims, and with Muslims, you've got Sunni and you've got Shia. Okay. Shia say it's a day of sadness. Okay. And we accept it's a day of sadness. An event taking place that is very sad. Okay. We say also that it's a day of joyness because first of all, that what preceded it, the saving of Musa al-Islam from the people and all the events that in, and even in the event of Karbala, but you understand that the Sayyidina Hussein was martyred, and I just mentioned that ayah, there's rejoiceful for him, you know, so he's with his Lord, and that's how pleased he is about it, and that's something that we need to understand. The Shia actually, they go to extent of, they say you can't show absolute any happiness. They even go to the, you know, they discredit the fasting, hadith, etc. You know, we just sound hadith, just the fact that no, this is a very sad event, and there's no need for that. You don't need to discredit the hadith. What it is we celebrate due to the victory of our Master Hussein. You know what? I haven't come across it, but I think they reject it actually. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they reject it because they're classing it as a day of mourning, you know. I can't be corrected on that, but there's a group definitely that they don't. They reject it simply because we're fast. The purpose behind the fast, you gotta understand that the purpose behind the fast is actually almost like a celebration. We class fasting as a celebration, and most of us don't. You know, it's almost like a torture, but fasting is a celebration for us. You know, when you show thankfulness for something, you fast. Prophet ﷺ fasted on his birthday to show thankfulness. Every Monday, he fasted on the Monday because he was born on that day to show, you know, thankfulness on that. So that's the purpose of the fast there. But they're saying, no, you can't show any joy. You know, they go to proper extreme. Anyone that shows joy, they don't love the Ahl Bayt. You hate them. So, you know, it's like going to two extremes. Now it's going to like, if you do this, you don't love them. And then you got some people who will say, well, don't love the Ahl Bayt so much because you're just copying the Shia. Oh, look, you know, just because someone does something, right, and you're doing it, even if it's right, that doesn't mean you're copying them. You're doing it. You're loving it because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Love my family." That's where we love them. You know that it shouldn't be anything to do with Shia. See, this is the problem. You see, it's like if someone's doing something good. But they've been discredited for other things. You can't do that good part as well, otherwise you're part of them. You know, that's like a fallacy, isn't it? That you need to discredit. So it's a victory for Imam Hussein because he stood by his principles. You know, whatever happened is because he stood by his principle. When we think of his killers, we think of the fate that awaits them. That's about it. However, when we think of Imam Hussein, we think of joy and love for him and his steadfastness. It's natural to feel natural to feel sadness due to the injustice of the day. That's obvious. It's natural that, you know, you come in hard-hearted, oh, this happened, and children were, well, you know, the young boys were killed, etc. You know, Imam Hussein, the grandchild of the Prophet ﷺ, was martyred, and we're not gonna feel sad about it. No, you feel sad about it, but not to the extreme. Don't take it to the extreme. What is the extreme I'm talking about here? I'm sure all of you have probably seen the Shia. They start beating themselves. You know, they pull out their whips and they start cutting themselves and all that. That's them mourning. The morning of the event. That's them trying to show that we love the Ahl Bayt so much and we're so sad on this day that we're beating ourselves up, which is wrong. Okay? There was actually, I'm trying to find it. I'm pretty sure I put down. I can't find it. Actually, here it is. A hadith that he who slaps his cheeks, tears his clothes, and follows the way and tradition of the days of ignorance is not one of us. Say hadith. Okay. In Buhari. You're going. So what they're doing, I think what the issue here is that the Shia will then turn around and pick and choose. That's why they're so misguided, because they'll say, no, we don't accept this one. We don't accept this one. We don't accept this one. They don't like the Sahaba. Okay, they don't like the Sahaba. Now, you understand is that they don't like Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq. They don't like Sayyidina Umar Farooq. Okay, they hate these. They believe that Sayyidina Ali was the one who should have been the Khalifa and it was taken away from him. Okay, if that was the case, Sayyidina Ali named his sons Abu Bakr, Uthman, Umar. Okay, Sayyidina Hassan had sons named Abu Bakr and Umar. Sayyidina Hussein had sons named Abu Bakr, and he named two of his sons Umar. They won't talk about things like that. If they were really hated, then why did they respect them and show so much etiquette and privilege to them by naming their children after them? And people don't go down that route. Okay, so
the Shia,
yeah.
Are they from the line of the Yazid then?
No, necessarily, no. So Shia, they've come. It doesn't matter where they come from. It's just what they've turned around and picked. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try to, one of the lessons I'll give a bit more detail around it. All that happens is that groups were formed, right? And then a certain sector is created. It's like, we follow this. Okay, and then probably they were oppressed a lot. You're gonna admit that they were oppressed a lot. And maybe some of them probably became Shia because of the oppression. Well, if they're like this, then we're gonna follow them. That's a history. You look into history, that's probably the case, right? But that doesn't justify what they've done, right? They've gone completely, they were completely misguided. We class them as being Muslim because they still accept and they say the kalma, they believe in Allah, there only being one God, they believe in the Prophet ﷺ being the last prophet. But then it's what comes after that is when they're completely misguided, right? Some of them say that actually that you can't call them, you can't say that they've gone out of the fold of Islam. But if someone turn around and they because some of them curse, say the Aisha, right? And if that's the case, then that can take them the fold of Islam. And how's that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in the Quran house saying that Aisha is pure, a chaste woman. So if they're saying the opposite, so you're denying the Quran, aren't you? Really? So from that side, yes, probably that's one of those things. But that's for ulama to decide, and that's not for me to come out with stuff like that. I'm just giving you kind of examples here on that. So you got two extremes. One extreme is that you completely beat yourself and you show so much things as that and whatever it is kind of thing. Then you got the other extreme. Some say that Hussein was wrong, that he was after power. You know, he was power hungry. So why did he go? He wanted to become a leader. Okay. Again, that's wrong as well. So don't go to all these extremes, because there's nothing that throughout the history, when you look at it, you can't justify things like that. No. So what happened? Don't forget who you're talking about here. You know, how high ranked this, say, the Imam Hussein was. Don't forget who you're talking about. Some even got to as far as actually within the so-called Sunni sect of praising Yazid, which the scholars agreed with, he was corrupt. So look at the extremes, don't go to the extremes, stay in the middle path, and that's very important for us. In his first year, this is Yazid, I think he ruled for 3 years. In his first year, he martyred the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ. In his second year, he ransacked Medina. He took over Medina, and there was a battle of Hara, I think it was, where he stopped the azan being read in Medina, etc. I remember there's narrations where the azan wasn't being read in Medina, and actually from the Rosa Mubarak, the azan would be heard from there, where people would just stand, they could hear the azan from there. And the third year, he actually stoned stoned the Kaaba, because it was like almost like a battle taking place. Because what happened is, after Imam Hussein was martyred, there was an uprising against him. So groups are uprising against him. How could you do something like that? And then it was almost like he was then having battles in Medina, had a battle in Makkah, and then they went to the extent, look, we want to win. So they just start catapulting with stones, and they destroyed parts of the Kaaba as well by doing that. and he was actually killed. His life ended at that point when he went to the Battle of Makkah and he was catapulting, etc. His life ended, and when the news went out that he's dead, then all this stopped. Okay. You got to understand, like I said, you got to look at the extreme, and those that go against Sayyidina Hussein, you got to understand who is it that you're talking about. The one who, the chest of the Prophet ﷺ was his playground, the lap of the Prophet ﷺ was his resting place. You know, the back of the Prophet ﷺ was his ride. The saliva, remember what I mentioned about the saliva? The saliva of the Prophet ﷺ was his drink. You know, his high rank is not so much detail you can go into, but this is it. So like I said, say in the middle path, what I'll finish off on was, just generally speaking, I think I covered most of the stuff anyway. So we spoke about the Shia and the reason why they do it. We spoke about the two distinctions between the Sunnis and the Shia of why this happens. So you'll understand, you get a bit of an idea how things work out. Like I said, you don't go to the extreme side of things. What we need to understand here from our side, if we feel pain for those who sin, you know, thereby availing themselves from the greatest door to the mercy of of the unseen. We need to follow the Sunnah, the grandfather of Imam Hussein, the Prophet ﷺ, the beloved, the righted, guided, and not beat ourselves. And I don't, you know, I can say this, it's obvious, but I think knowledge brings about a lot. Okay, so whatever's been presented to you in a certain way, you'll accept that. And what's going to naturally, I'm talking completely neutral here. Yeah, and it's very important when you say that. So a person can start thinking, well, wait a minute, it's a bit obvious, why do they do all this kind of thing? Now, if your teachers and their teachers have wrote all these books, right, and they wrote these things, and these are things in the books, you're only going to accept that. So if I turn around and say to them, look, it's clearly in the book here, oh, but we don't accept that. Our teachers have said this, that's not right. You know, that's the way it works. That's the way it works. So for us, at times it's obvious, but then when limited knowledge, you know, it's like limited knowledge is very dangerous. Limited knowledge is very dangerous, and that's what's happened. They've got limited knowledge, and that's very dangerous. Okay. We need to learn from the whole event of that, because Imam Hussein made a sacrifice. Because that's what, whenever an event takes place, it's almost a lesson for us on what is the lesson that we learn from that. So Imam Hussein made a sacrifice. What is our sacrifice? And I'm not saying they'll go out there with swords, etc., and all that, because times have changed now. What is it that we're doing with our time? You know, what is it that we're doing to make a difference? So he went to Karbala. He traveled to Karbala regardless of, he knew what was happening. He knew he was going to be martyred, but he went because he knew he had to do it, because it'll make a change, you know, a big change in history. It'll be remembered for a certain reason. He made a sacrifice for principles and all that. So these are great people. They make great sacrifices. We're nothing. So our sacrifices should be next to, just above nothing as well, meaning do small things. What small sacrifice can we make? I don't know. I need to read a book to increase my knowledge in them, but you know what? I'd rather just turn on the TV and watch Tom and Jerry. Everyone enjoys Tom and Jerry. Come on. You know, there's a lesson on Islamic knowledge taking place. Yeah, it's cold outside. It's getting dark now as well. We're going through winter. Forget it. I'd rather stay at home, put up the heating, cozy. You know, these are little things. They're not really. I mean, we still can class them as sacrifices because we're doing something against our nafs. You know, we don't want to do that now. We just wanted to take an easy route, but we've turned around and done this. You know, we've made that. So we need to really ask ourselves, how are we making changes? People attending here, alhamdulillah, I'm grateful that you guys are attending. Let's remember, I push. Sometimes I'm reluctantly pushing because I'm thinking, people thinking, well, this guy just doing it because he's teaching the lesson. Yeah, I believe I've got many things to do, right? And I have to prepare for these times for this lesson as well. But I take it as a responsibility to try to, whatever little knowledge I've been given to them, pass on to the community. Okay. And I just want better for you guys. So that's why I always say I encourage you to ask questions, and I'm always available for things like that. What you can do, first of all, is try to attend the classes, but also encourage others to attend the classes. Me telling someone, will probably not have as much an impact than maybe you telling your brothers or sisters, or the elders telling their sons or daughters, just attend the class. It's only 1 hour. Okay, I appreciate the Champions League has started, so a lot of them are probably watching that, but little sacrifices, you can watch the highlights later. Okay, that's what you're going to need to understand and think, is what sacrifices can we make, what differences can we do. Everyone has a responsibility. Okay, if you know something and the person next to you doesn't know something, right, and they need your help, you need to be helping them. Don't think, someone out there will help them. You need to be that someone. And that's why we lag behind in so many things. We always see in anything, running the masjid, doing whatever it is, we all know that, if I don't do it, someone's going to do it anyway. And eventually it will get done, but not in the best way possible. If we take the attitude of, look, I want to do that, then when you got about 3 or 4 people wanting to do that, it'll make that thing a lot better. Okay, so definitely take it serious about knowledge, Islamic knowledge, because we are already in a very volatile environment. Okay, where I think 20 years ago, I remember when our parents used to say to us that, well, their reason was different. They said that learn your language. We said, what for? If they kick you out of the country, what are you going to say? They can't kick us out of the country. We've got a red passport. No one cares about the red passport now. If they want it, they'll kick you out. No rules apply. They'll change the rules according to yourself. But I'm not saying it because they're going to kick you out of the country. All I'm saying is that you need to be prepared to answer questions. People are going to ask you a certain question, and you need to be prepared to answer that question. If you can't answer the question, at least you need to be prepared to satisfy yourself. The reason why I spend so much time on Aqidah, and I go into probably more detail than I should, is that you're confident in your Aqidah, you're confident in your belief, that you don't have any doubt. Worship has certain things. So let's take worship example. I'm telling you, this is the way you pray. These are the fard, these are the sunnahs in the prayer. Ensure that you go down and you do this, and ensure you're, women, you're all closed up, and men, you like kind of arch and everything. If a young boy kind of goes into sajda in a slightly wrong position, why is it that what his prayer is not going to be accepted? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't need our prayer. These worship things, he doesn't need that. He's just giving us an opportunity. What's important is your intention. You've made that effort, you made that sacrifice, you want to do certain things. Okay, where things become a bit controversial is on the belief side, on the Aqidah side. I've got a bit of doubt on this. Then one doubt leads to another. Then once you've got that seed of a doubt, then the shaitan's on you straight away. Okay. But I've gone off on a bit well, but I'll just still ensure that the message is out there really good and strong. Okay, any questions before we finish? Where's he gone? Was it enough to tell me? Where's he gone? I'll find out where's he gone. Is outside? I just bring him in, then he's gone. I just bring him in, whatever it is. Any questions before we finish? No? Sure? We leave it at that then? Look at all the what they call old legs are kind of aching at the moment to get up. وصلى الله سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا آمين. Bring it in.